Good evening. It is Friday, May 15th, 2015. I am Namsnoodle. And this podcast is going to be, talking about, what's ever currently is on my mind, current news stories, given, just my 2 cents. And hopefully this will be the start of something new. So, having said that, let's begin. Um, everyone faces everyday pressures of, bills, being able to, uh, make a good living, trying to, not live above their means and keeping their priorities straight. And for me personally, I I I have really bad anxiety, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. I take medication for it, and if I don't take my medication, my anxiety gets really bad. I get racing thoughts, and then I just have panic attacks. But it's just a natural reaction for anyone to have, when you're facing just everyday problems or issues, and just how you deal with them. And the thing is, though, when you look at it in retrospect, whatever it is you have to deal with, it's, don't try to take on too much at one time. Take baby steps. Just take every day. You should face the current situation of what's going on right now, and not worry about what's going to happen tomorrow. Uh, but you still have your long term and short term priorities. Short term, you know, okay, I need to save this amount of money to pay this off, and and how much money will I have left? And then long term, you're like, okay, so I want to stop renting an apartment. I'm gonna get my own house. I'll have to put down a down payment. How much money will I have to, put aside each month in order, to make sure I have enough to pay off each month in increments, and at the same time be able to, afford food and other expenses, so you can get by in life. Those are all things that have been going through my mind lately, and also the thought of, work itself can be stressful. I mean, and then when you're there, it's, okay, well, what's the goal? What's the priority or the task on hand for today? And that's just with life as well. But then, I'm also thinking, going back to college, going to get my bachelor's. Not sure with what yet, but I mean, I think I might want to go in the health field, but um I don't know if I'm gonna go back to be full time or a part time student, but I'm happy with my job right now. It's not full time; it's part time, but during the summer I'll have more hours, and when you get that more money, it's like, oh yeah, but you still got to make sure you don't live above your means and you use it wisely. I mean, what I plan to do with the money that I make is hopefully, open certificate deposits here and there. And, even though you can't open them up for like 5 years, you still make money off the interest it bills, even though it's not very much. But it's plans. You do have to have plans, and to make sure you do focus for the future. You always got to be, prepared. Even though I had said, you take every day, and you just try to not take on too much, and not have so much of a burden. But you do have to, like, you have to have short-term and long-term goals. And just so you're taking care of yourself, you're making sure everything's right and in place. But like I said, that doesn't mean, you're not going to have your moments where everything is just, it seems like the whole world is on your shoulder, and you got so much on your plate. But, if you just take a deep breath, and sometimes, I'm actually able just to be like, you know what? The hell with it. I'm not going to let this control me. I'm not going to let it, uh, not going to let it ruin my life. I'm not going to let it control my life, because I figure, something, it will get done. It will get done. And one way or another, I will find a way. And that's, the common, that's what I believe everyone should have as an outlook. And I know it can be easier said than done, but I mean, if you think positive and have a positive outlook, things are obtainable. Things can be done, and that's what I wanted to talk about. Uh, I mean, right now, like, even though I enjoy my job, I don't make the most money. I'll be honest with you, and this economy is not the greatest. I wish I had more hours right now as it was. Plus, I actually like to work. I enjoy working where I'm at. It keeps me busy. It's better than staying at home with a thumb up your ass. uh, but no, I mean, like I said, it gives you something to do. You're able to interact with people and others. And just learn about, enjoy life along the way because it's a one big adventure. Uh, and then you have your recreational activities where you're with your friends afterwards. I like to play softball with my friends, and I mean, I'm not the greatest, but I do enjoy the company and the time that we spend together. Um, currently our team's not the best in the league, like I said, but I mean, it's good to get away from life's stresses and just have fun with your friends. And then going out to eat, again, just trying to make sure also I don't live beyond my means, but being able to oh, yeah, a $7 sandwich or a hoagie, yeah, I can. That's not gonna harm me 5 years from now. I mean, you also have to look at things like that. If I buy something like that or this or here or there, uh, will it really affect me 5 or 10 years down the road? Probably not. Now when you're talking about a house or something, which is probably your biggest investment that you could ever have, that is something that you need to take into account and like saying, okay, not only will this affect me 5 or 10 years from now, but how? Because will I be able to afford it? Will I be able to uh, support myself beyond just paying the bills and paying off the house? So this you got like again with the priorities. And this is I know I'm just rambling and whatnot, but this is just therapeutic for me. It's a podcast as well. I mean, I just like to be able to get things off my chest and just talk about it because I know I'm not the only one out there that goes through everyday life with worrying. Um, just maybe I'm at a different degree of it. For me, it's a little bit more extreme. Like I said, I have anxiety, high anxiety, and that really kicks up my depression. And my depression is actually really under control because I mean, when I get depressed, it's kind of like yeah, but that's really usually only during the winter month when the days get shortened and you're not out and about till 8 or 9 o'clock when there's still daylight. When it's shortened, it's like, oh man, this is kind of depressing. You look outside, it's dark. It's like, wow, the day's done at 5 o'clock. But then when you're at 9 o'clock, it's like, oh, hey, the day's done. But you know what? It's about the time I get my shower anyway, or I already have something usually to eat, and I'm down by 10 o'clock. So you know what? Hey, the day's over actually, and about ready to go to bed and start tomorrow's day. But like looking at you look at winter, it's like, oh man, like I said, really 5 o'clock, 4:30, it's already dark out. The day's over. It's just that mirage, so to speak, or that you know, for a lack of a better term. Um, so it's the perception of it. Yeah, that's a better word to describe it. And so I mean, like I said, with my anxiety, that it makes everything else go up. Like in my stress levels and probably my BP levels as well. And uh, but it's yeah. I try to remember. I do have a good support group with my friends, my family. Try to just someone to talk to. It's always good to have someone to talk to because you know you're reminded, hey, you're not the only one that has these problems. Everyone else, worries, and they wonder how they're gonna be able to get ahead in life, or at least just do everything they have to do in order to get by. And it's not it's you don't have to go through this journey of life by yourself. I mean, as long as you have, like I said, you can have a good support group with family and friends, and your peers helping you out. Just if you just need someone to talk to, and that's just how I personally am. And personally, also, what I like to do is just I used to write sports blogs, and not anymore. But I mean, I do like to write at times, but right now it's more of at a personal level, or just writing down things just to get my mind off things if I have to in some sort of way, or watching old television shows that I enjoyed during their time that they were on the air. And there goes the clock that's off. I hate those kind of clocks. Do, 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 do. And then they. That's another thing. Trivial stuff can sometimes drive me nuts as well. Oh, man. But, I'm not much of a television guy. Speaking of, TV nowadays, it's just not as good. It's like I like watching some of the stuff I grew up watching. It's stemming from the early like Nickelodeons in the early '90s, and you know shows in the 2000s even that I grew up watching, and it's just not this TV is just not the same it is today. But I'll go on YouTube or Netflix or somewhere and watch these old shows, and a lot of times I'm able to escape from life's stresses through that as well. I mean, basically, it's just you gotta find something that makes you happy. You can get a good laugh and just get your mind off things. And whether it's talking to friends or something, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and try to be a life coach or anything, but if I can help someone along the way, and they're just hearing me talk, and they also realize they're not alone and feeling and having these thoughts, and I'm glad that they you know have something or someone out there that they can listen to and relate to. Uh, but also, and I don't like staying at home too much, even if I don't have to work, because that gets depressing as well. And it's nice to always have a nice day to yourself when you can actually, if you've been so busy. But when like you're like me, when you're part-time, you're not working really much through the week, like maybe 15 hours during for the time being. It does get kind of, depressing in that aspect as well. So I'm always trying to find something to do with friends, and just to keep busy my mind off things. I don't That way I don't start thinking too much. But I mean, and my brother, he lives just like 10 minutes away from me, so I always know I can go there and just get my mind off things. But it's just usually, if I when we talk about, we just talk about life itself, and just shoot the breeze. You know, have a good, like I said, just have a good time, and discuss what's going on in each other's lives, and then just be like, not to worry about it too much, because we're there for each other if we need it. I mean, um, my brother and I mean, I'm 26, and we've during our childhood, we've had our fights, and he's gotten the best of me. I've gotten the best of him, but I think it's made us stronger in the end. But you know, and it's just it's always good to have a family member that's close like that. And I have an older sister as well, but she's all the way on the other end of the country. So, it's hard to keep in touch with her, especially she has a kid and another one on the way. My brother also has a kid right now and another one on the way. Both of my brother and sister's next babies are due around the same time, so that'll be interesting. The other thing though that brings the stress about my having my two nephews and whatever is expected to come, I want to be when their birthday comes, and not just their birthdays but my other family members' birthdays. I want to be able to give them a little something. I can't afford them, the world, but at the same time, it's just like I want to be able to get them something nice, but it's like I gotta watch my budget, and even if it's like for my sister, her birthday was back in March. Hers, my birthday is actually a week apart, and at the time I wasn't, I really was just trying to pay other things off. I had to pay off something with my car, so I mean, but it's always nice, and I'm going out to visit her in a couple weeks here, and it's always nice when a simple gift can mean the world to someone, and like there's these certain kind of chips that are only made around the area that where we grew up at and where I'm living at, and you have to, so I'm just going to go to the store, and I'm going to go buy them, and get her about 4 or 5 bags of those chips, and it will put a smile on her face, even though the birthday gift is late. It's the thought was still there. It wasn't forgotten, but I got around to it, and that's all that matters. And for me personally, it's like I tell my brother and my sister, don't worry about getting me a gift. You guys have your own. They have their kids, and that's what I want their main priorities to be, is on their family and their kids, because I know that is no easy trip, and I love my nephews and I love my family, but I I can understand. I mean, I've worked with kids, and I work with kids actually, and kids can be a handful, but the 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 reward overrides the stress and the agony that kids can cause. And I don't mean to be vicious when I say agony, but it is. There's no book on how to be a parent. And if there was, you'd still screw it up. It would still be wrong, because every kid's different and every parent's different. And that's another thing. It's like, will I get married? Whenever I get married, it's like I worry, because I don't want to grow up alone. Even if I'm not married, it's like I do want to live with someone, but I don't. I mean, you want your privacy, but then again, you don't. But you don't want to be alone. But then that's the thought of, well, if I have, and I think if I have a dog and a cat, I think I'll be okay. I mean, especially with the dog, you can run around in the yard with and play with, and and then it's nice to come home that they greet you at the door, and you have to take the dog out to go to the bathroom, and the cat, you know, you can just lay with the cat on the couch or something, and but it's just that stress too, because I mean, if especially if you get married, I mean, then you have another income that's coming into the household, and that kind of takes care of some things. So you know, in a way, it's less stressful in that aspect. But but along, with that said, there's probably more baggage that comes with it as well. So pros and cons type of thing. This main podcast is about stress and the life stresses and just how to handle with it. And I just I just wonder, where am I gonna go? I mean, I try to. It's like I look too far in the future, and because it's the unknown, and I worry, and you know, trying to be independent and trying to take care of myself. I mean, it's a scary thought. I mean, all of our lives we're growing up, we're as kids, we it's funny because we're like, oh, I can't wait to be an adult so I can do this, that, this, and that, this, and that. And then you realize, wow, I'm really limited to what I can do. When I was a kid, all I had to do was listen to my parents and listen to my teachers at school. Other than that, I could hang out with my friends whenever I wanted, practically, and I could do whatever I wanted, practically, as long as had my homework done. I'd go outside and play. Being a kid, that's the best time of your life. And, don't wish it, children out there, don't wish it to go by any faster than it already is, because you won't get the time back. And before you know it, the people that you did grow up with and you're friends with, a lot of the times, you part ways, and you don't really, you meet new people, and new people come into your lives, and you spend more time with these new people, and the old people that you maybe went to school with and were friends back in high school. you don't see him as much, and that's another thing that's sad, and you know that that kind of, and it's like I said, it's sad. It bothers me, but that's just how life is, and it's not anything personal, but it's everyone has to do what they have to do in order to make sure they can get by, and be able to provide for themselves, and be able to uh, live and cover their expenses. And that's just what happens. And then along the way, though, when you're working, you meet the new people through this, your workplaces, and you might go out to lunch or grab a bite to eat, and you start friending up like that. But and it's going back again, though. I want to say, you just don't know where you're going to be in 5 and 10 years, but you do have goals, or you might set aside and write some things down of where you would like to be, or you know uh, okay, here's what I want to do. When is this realistic that I can reach this goal? And try just to give it a window, 3 to 5 years. Don't necessarily make it like I've got to do it by this date or else I fail. Give yourself some room for error. But it's just that. And then then again, you got to live it day by day as well. Whatever comes at you, um you just take it all in, by day. You just face the situation with what you're dealing with now, and the rest, whatever happens, you'll deal with that when those situations come about. Um, this is probably going to be one of my shorter podcasts, but I mean, I just wanted to do this and just get it out there, and I don't know how, like, on a continued pattern, or on a like a much of a pattern I'll have this on, but I'd like to do one once a week at least, and just shoot the breeze, and whatever it could be. It could be just about life itself, like a general podcast. You can almost call it like a vlog if you want, but just like a podcast, and just discuss about like what's just about life in general, or current events, sports, family, friends, uh, just life in general, and all the other adventures that come with it. So that was my first podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. And with that said, as always, I'm Nam, and always use your noodle.